Ladies and gentlemen, Baker Mayfield is the real deal. It's time to put the question mark away. It's official. Baker Mayfield is the guy, QB1. And in this week's post-weekend wrap-up, whatever you want to call it, show, we're going to go over the Browns' victory over Carolina, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Heisman. Here it is. Yes, Browns fans, as I said earlier, Baker Mayfield is for real. He's here to stay. He ain't going nowhere. This ain't Brian Hoyer. This ain't Derek Anderson. This is for real. He's QB1. He's here to stay. There's no gimmicks in his game. He's just a baller. He has everything you need to be a successful quarterback in this league. He has the on-field talent, and he has the leadership ability. He is already, without playing a full NFL season, a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I think is his floor. I know there are a lot of people out there who didn't see this coming, who thought he was the second coming of Manziel, who was scared off by his height or his offensive system. I was one of those people, but it's okay to be wrong when right looks so damn good. But Browns fans, after this week's game, understand that this, for the first time in 30 years, for the first time since Bernie Kosar, we got us a real quarterback. Baker Mayfield isn't even in the same class as the rookie QBs he came out with anymore. It's hard for me to sit here with a straight face and compare him to a Sam Darnold because he has played so much better than Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield, in less than one full season as Brown's starting quarterback, has graduated from being compared to other rookies to being compared to other top quarterbacks in the league. And he had a bad game last week, threw 3 interceptions against the Texans. Looked bad. But you know what? He bounced back, threw for almost 400 yards in that second half. What does he do this week? People have been giving him his comeuppance nationally all week that don't like him, saying that he was humbled, saying that he doesn't talk much when he loses, or calling him immature. What does he do? He comes back and he plays as efficient of a game as a quarterback can play. He didn't put up great numbers. He went 18 of 22. Threw for 238 yards and a touchdown. Not eye-popping numbers, but if you watch the game, you saw that he made the right plays at the right moments, converting long third downs to keep drives going so you can get a rushing touchdown. Being a magician with fakes, executing the offense, getting them to the line on time, bringing things to an offense more than passing, which is what a veteran quarterback does. This offense looks organized. This offense looks disciplined. This offense looks well run, and that's because you have a leader at quarterback. And let me address something that went wild the last few weeks. This idea that Baker Mayfield is immature because he speaks his mind, because he chose to say what he said about Hugh Jackson, because he doesn't feel the need to be fake, or because he doesn't feel the need to suppress himself to conform to what the national media wants him to be. This idea that because he steps out of that, he's instantly immature. This is a classic example of people making an opinion based off of things they read on a sheet of paper without watching the damn game. Because there are people who said that Baker Mayfield was immature after that Texans game, when he did the most mature thing I've seen a quarterback do in years. For those of you who didn't see the Texans game, there was a point where he threw Antonio Callaway 2 long bomb touchdowns. The first one got called back because of holding. And then the second one, Antonio Callaway made a great play on the ball, ran to the end zone. He fumbled the ball before he crossed the plane. It was backbreaking. It killed the Browns. It probably killed a Browns fan. But in the middle of that moment where he would be 100% right to go to Antonio Callaway and yell at him and light him up for making that mistake. You know what Baker Mayfield did? He walks over calmly to his guy, puts his arm around him and says, "You're going to get the next one. Don't worry about it." we still in the game. That's leadership. Putting your own personal feelings aside to make sure that one of your guys stays focused. That's maturity. That's leadership. You know what's not a good measure of maturity? How well somebody answers questions from the media. You know what NFL player answered questions from the media really well? Johnny Manziel did. Johnny Manziel wasn't controversial on the microphone. He was beloved. People loved him. On a microphone, everybody loved Johnny Manziel. And with all that maturity at the podium, you know what that got you? A guy who missed the game in the NFL because he wanted to go to Vegas, wear a fake mustache and a wig and sunglasses and walk around calling himself Billy. That is the truth to that story. Like, Johnny Manziel officially admitted that that happened. And that's a guy who answered the questions maturely. So are we going to base this question of Baker Mayfield's maturity off of what he actually does? Or are we going to base it off of what we read because we don't like how he came at certain people when he's being nothing but an adult about it? But Baker Mayfield has continued to show his leadership. You see it by how these guys come out. When you watch the Browns, you see a team that is emboldened by their lead, that is encouraged, that is ready to play every down because of their leader in Baker Mayfield. That's special. That's not something every good quarterback in the league can do. You want to sit there and look at me in the face and tell me Matt Ryan inspires his guys like Baker Mayfield? After seeing how it imploded in Seattle, in that locker room, you want to tell me that Russell Wilson's some great leader? Please. There are guys in the NFL who could play the quarterback position well. And then on the next level, there are guys who could play the position well and inspire the guys on their team to be better. That's what Brady does. That's what Peyton Manning did. That's what the greats do. That's what guys like Drew Brees do. The Hall of Famers. The generational guys. There have been a lot of guys in this league who could play the position of quarterback. There haven't been a lot of guys who can inspire a team. And right now with Baker Mayfield, he's giving you great quarterback play, but he's also inspiring his guys in the same vein. And I'm not saying he's as inspirational as these people I'm about to mention, but in the same vein as guys like Ray Lewis, guys like Tim Tebow did in college. Inspirational guys that can somehow pull it out of you while playing well. That's what Baker Mayfield's doing right now. That's special. That's what should excite Browns fans. Because not only does he look like he's a top 15 quarterback, he looks like he is a guy that people want to play for and people will run through a wall for. And when you have that at the quarterback position and you're playing well, sky's the limit for you. Now getting back to the game, Baker Mayfield made a lot of plays here that for a Browns fan watching, it was weird to see the Browns do because these are normally plays other quarterbacks make that are back-breaking. The 3rd and 17 touchdown to Jarvis Landry while he's scrambling to his right. The play at the end of the game with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to roll out to his right and throw the ball, get about 15 yards to extend that drive to make it a little bit harder on the Panthers to mount a comeback. And Baker Mayfield continues to spread the wealth within his wide receivers, throwing to 8 wide receivers. And just in this game with Baker Mayfield, a lot of questions were answered about his leadership, about his character, and about his ability to play. Jarvis Landry had a big game this week, running for 54 yards and a touchdown, and also receiving for 57 yards and another touchdown. He needed a big day like this. He's been having a few rough games, hasn't had the impact that you would want him to have this season. So it was nice to see Jarvis Landry really be a factor in today's game. Hopefully that sets the tone for what the future is going to be with him on this team. Myles Garrett, he had a huge game today. Should have had 2 sacks and a strip fumble, but he only had 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Was a big factor in the run game. Whenever they stopped Christian McCaffrey, it was normally number 95 doing the job there. Big game for him. Looked more dominant than I have seen him in the past. There were plays where it looked like they put 2-3 guys on Myles Garrett, and he was still penetrating, pushing the pocket back. Just what you want to see from a number 1 overall pick. Looks like he got something special there, defensive end as well. Nick Chubb ran the ball well. Limited carries, 66 yards, 1 touchdown on 13 carries. So not the best game for Nick Chubb, but still a very solid game. Moved the ball when he had to. Just been a dependable guy in that backfield, a guy that you want to give carries to, and that's a very good thing for the Browns. Defense didn't really play good this week. They made stops when they needed to. I thought that those stops were more because Cam Newton just wasn't making accurate throws versus good coverage or just good defense. Stopping the run has continued to be a problem for the Browns. For whatever reason, this team can't stop a single damn person from running up the middle on this defense. They have to figure this out in the offseason. They don't got time to mess around with that. They got to figure it out. Bad tackling again. Just multiple plays where they had a guy 5-6 yards behind the line of scrimmage and they made first contact back there and they would not get the guy down till either the line of scrimmage or afterwards. There was the one play in the middle. I forget who caught it for the Panthers, but it was just a pathetic display of tackling. It was a slant route that should have gone for like 15 yards. This guy ended up breaking it for 40, 45 yards down the field. Just bad tackling all around. They need to fix this. They probably will in the offseason, but still not good to see this team tackle like that. And again, secondary looked bad without Denzel Ward out there. You got to be better without him out there. They got Terrence Mitchell back. I thought I was going to see an improvement, but right now Terrence Mitchell looks like a guy who hasn't played football in more than 10 weeks. So maybe with the next few weeks, they'll look better. When Denzel Ward gets back, maybe they'll look better. They're going to need him to if they want to win out. And they need to win out because they're still alive in the playoff conversation. Yes, the Browns could possibly and feasibly, not really unrealistically, make the playoffs this year. Baltimore has the spot. I believe they're 7-6. The Browns play Baltimore. They play Cincinnati. They play Denver. They play 3 out of the 4 teams ahead of them in the playoff race, I believe. The Browns have a real shot. They went out to be considered for this playoff spot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with the Browns. But if they want that to happen, this defense is going to have to play better, more consistently. And they just haven't been that for the last few weeks now. But let's look forward to next week for the Browns. They play prime time on Saturday night against the Denver Broncos. Good matchup. A game, again, the Browns can and should win. Browns going to have to produce on offense against a good defense. We're going to see what they really got. But the good thing is that Case Keenum and that Broncos offense should not kill you. Be exciting to see what happens next week. I'm excited for the game just like everybody else. One of the X factors in that game is probably going to be Baker Mayfield in primetime. I feel like that's a good combination. In college football news, we're just going to touch on real quick because it's going to relate to the Browns a little bit. Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy, which means the quarterback position at Oklahoma has won the Heisman Trophy for 2 years in a row. Now, knowing that about Lincoln Riley's success, not only on offense, but specifically with quarterback play, does that make him more of an interesting candidate for you for the Browns? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of that. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this week's post-weekend wrap-up show. Tell me what you think about the Browns' victory over Carolina. Tell me what you think about Baker Mayfield and his future as a top quarterback in this league. And let me know what you think about the Browns' next week matchup against the Denver Broncos on national TV. Again, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is Quincy Carrier, and this is the post-weekend football wrap-up show. Go Browns.